The U.S. military draft. Yesterday, June the 14th, 2024, the House of Representatives passed a defense bill that will automatically register young men ages 18 through 26 for the U.S. draft. So if you or somebody you know is between those ages of 18 and 26, men or women, we're going to be covering that in this video as well. You're probably going to want to see this video. I'm going to be covering the details for you of what it was that unfolded. And I've actually been sharing this with you for quite some time, as we heard back in November that there were rumors that the U.S. draft would need to come back. And that was because we had heard that if we were to enter into a war, or right now potentially World War III, that we currently have 1/10 of the reserves that we had over 50 years ago when we had the last draft in place. And currently in 2023, numbers have come out that the U.S. Army has had a shortfall of its goals by 23%. The U.S. Navy has had a shortfall of 20%. The U.S. Air Force of 10%. And the U.S. Marines are the only ones that have met their goals for recruits. Now, in addition to that, as I mentioned, this is 1/10 of what it was just 50 years ago. So we're going to be discussing what it was that passed yesterday in the House of Representatives, and also why this is unfolding. Now, in addition to that, just for clarification, this passed in the House of Representatives. We're hearing that this...
Yeah, who is it?
We're here for the military draft.
Draft?
That's correct.
Oh, you talking about my TikTok draft? You know my draft? They a little embarrassing.
No, young man. You are getting drafted.
Oh, the draft. Yeah, it's a little windy in here. You talking about the draft?
War! You are going to war!
I identify as a woman.
You could possibly be automatically drafted now. You remember when you had to sign up for the draft? Well, not any longer. The House of Representatives, you know, the people that give hundreds of billions of dollars of our taxpayer money to fight wars around the world? Well, now they're automatically registering you as soon as you turn 18. You, men, for the draft. When did the draft start? 1975. You know, when most of the House of Representatives who voted on this graduated college. Well, they're now voting for you to automatically get ready for a draft. Why? Do they want us to fight against Russia and China? Is it because we've been pouring hundreds of billions of dollars into wars? And not into the United States and building ourselves up and instead fighting wars? Who knows? And it's probably not going to pass the Senate because a lot of people are against it. Because this was a part of a defense bill that would authorize $895 billion in military spending. But hey, welcome to the land of the free. I mean, free for the rich, not you. You're going to war maybe. And you don't get a say right here in the good old USA. And boy, people are mad that women are involved. That's because here in the good old USA, men and women are separated. Yeah, try to tell old warlord Biden that men and women should be fighting the war.
All right, I just need like a couple thousand volunteers. For what? Thanks for volunteering.
Bruh. Yesterday, the House voted to pass a bill increasing the military budget, which is something that they do all the time. But hidden in this bill, written by House Republicans, was a provision that says every American male from the ages 18 to 26 must register for the draft. And this is something I was literally just thinking about as all the powerful Western countries were meeting at their G7 summit. Because even the New York Times points out that all of these neoliberal leaders are struggling for support. It's likely that a lot of them lose their next election. Meanwhile, countries like Russia and China continue to grow in terms of economic power and global political influence, while US sanctions on these countries are doing nothing to slow them down and are only backfiring and making European economies much weaker, because they were reliant on trade with Russia before the sanctions and before the blowing up of the Nord Stream pipeline. And what are the US and other NATO leaders doing in response? The only thing that they know how to do, surrounding China and Russia with their military. But I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm like, what American is going to sign up to join the military to go fight a senseless war against China and Russia? I was like, if they're going to continue threatening these countries, they're going to have to, like, institute a draft. Oh yeah, look, they're already doing it. They're getting you ready to fight World War III against two countries who have never attacked us and who don't want World War III themselves. We are living in the days of the empire's decay, and things are going to get real crazy here in the United States.
It's been introduced in the House that if passed would automatically register young men for the draft. And if this in any way surprises you, you have not been paying attention to how screwed our military recruitment is. The gist of it is, for years now, the military has been under-recruiting. They can't get enough people to sign up to serve. And this was, of course, inevitable because the U.S. fights imperialist wars that nobody thinks are justified. I think the most recent statistics is that 1 out of every 10 positions in the armed services is unfilled. Simultaneously, the US military, just like all Western militaries, is heavily reliant on private military contractors. And when I say heavily reliant, I mean they literally can't function without private military contractors. And a lot of these private military contractors are not Americans. They are typically recruited from third world countries and then sent all over the world to kill other oppressed people. The combination of these two factors means that even though we're spending more money than ever on our military, it is less effective than ever, which is fine by me because I like seeing America getting trounced on the world stage. Fighting a war like even Vietnam at this point would be literally impossible. And so presumably America is looking at the current fronts in which its artillery is being spammed, Ukraine, and genociding the Palestinians in Gaza, and is saying, I got one more imperialist venture in me. And so they're planning to bring back the draft because in this country there's always money for war and occupation, but never money for jobs and education.